Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to be looking at a literal microscopic battle happening right inside our bodies every single day. Seriously, it's an epic ongoing clash. On one side, a stagnant, suffocating sludge. And on the other, the vibrant, erupting cellular energy that we literally all need to thrive. We're going to explore the incredible science of what's called the kinetic flush, and exactly how this thing, fluid shear stress, impacts our mitochondrial longevity. Okay, let's dive right into this by asking a really critical, maybe even slightly startling question. Is an invisible buildup of stagnant body fluid acting as a barrier that's secretly draining your vitality? It kind of sounds like science fiction, right? But the source material reveals an absolutely fascinating biological reality here. When the fluid in our bodies becomes stagnant, it creates this, well, a cellular sludge. Think of a slow-moving, algae-filled pond where the water is thick, murky, and totally choked of life. Now contrast that with a rushing, crystal-clear mountain river where water flows powerfully, sweeping away all the debris and bringing in fresh oxygen. That murky pond, that's exactly what happens inside your tissues when fluid stops flowing optimally. And this sludge doesn't just sit there. No, it actively acts as a physical barrier right at the extracellular level, basically suffocating your cells' powerhouses. And the consequence of that suffocating sludge? Well, it's something called inflammaging. The sources define this as a key driver of cellular aging, and it's directly linked to mitochondrial dysfunction. Because you know that sludge we just talked about? It literally suffocates your mitochondria by blocking the vital oxygen and those essential nutrients required for your body's structural repair. Imagine trying to breathe, or eat for that matter, through a thick, heavy wall of mud. It's just not going to work. When your cells can't get the resources they desperately need because of this fluid congestion, the engines of your cells just start sputtering out. And that leads directly to a state of chronic inflammation and, unfortunately, accelerated aging. Section 1. Activating fluid shear stress. Now, fluid shear stress might sound like some highly technical engineering concept, but it's actually incredibly practical for your health. It's a mechanical trigger activated through physical, rhythmic movement that literally liquefies and flushes away metabolic waste. Our sources refer to this activation as the kinetic flush protocol. And the best part? A practical routine for this doesn't require a gym membership. It can be as simple as, say, 5 minutes of brisk walking, maybe some light jogging, or rhythmic rebounding every few hours. This isn't a magic chemical pill. It's physical movement generating a real mechanical force. Think of it like taking a high-pressure power washer to that stagnant, algae-filled pond we talked about earlier. That rhythmic movement generates the sheer physical force needed to break up that dangerous sludge. So the core contrast of our cellular physiology really just comes down to this. On one side, stagnant fluid leads to sludge, which, as we know, leads to suffocation. But on the other side, fluid shear stress, achieved through the kinetic flush, leads to an absolute energy eruption. The kinetic flush literally liberates your cells from being trapped in their own metabolic waste. It is a night-and-day difference in how your body functions down at the microscopic level.
Let's move on to Section 2, Improving Interstitial Clearance.
Systematically walking through this, we can actually see exactly how this rescue mission plays out, step by step. First up, interstitial clearance. The fluid shear stress actively improves interstitial clearance, which literally sweeps in and removes the sludge surrounding your cells. Step 2 is cellular nutrient uptake. Because the sludge is liquefied, those suffocating interstitial barriers, they are completely broken down. And actually, to really optimize this nutrient uptake, sources suggest timing your rhythmic movement right before meals. That ensures that as these barriers open up, your cells are perfectly primed to absorb fresh oxygen and fuel. And finally, step 3, cellular respiration is restored. With the metabolic waste gone and the vital nutrients flowing freely in, the cell's engine is restarted. It's just this incredibly elegant mechanical chain reaction.
Which brings us to Section 3, Restoring Cellular Energy. Once that fluid is flowing, mitochondria are no longer suffocated and they just erupt with energy. Honestly, this is where longevity is actually manufactured, and you can integrate this so easily into your daily work routine to keep that fluid flowing. Try taking walking meetings, maybe use a standing desk with a balance board, or even just set a timer to do 2 minutes of deep squats every hour. When you use movement to clear out that extracellular environment, your mitochondria, the primary powerhouses of your cells, can properly and efficiently perform cellular respiration. They go from slowly suffocating under a heavy blanket of metabolic waste to erupting with the exact, vibrant energy necessary for your long-term vitality and health.
Physical movement is absolutely the fundamental, mechanical requirement to keep your cellular environment from shutting down. It completely prevents that stagnant matrix from ever forming in the first place. You see, we aren't just moving to burn calories or build muscle anymore. According to the scientific research in our sources, we're moving to generate the specific fluid shear stress that power washes our cells. To prevent metabolic waste buildup, your daily checklist should look a little something like this. 1. Morning dynamic stretches to break up overnight stagnation. 2. Breaking up your sitting time every 45 minutes with a little bit of pacing. And 3. A dedicated 20-minute bout of elevated heart rate movement. If you don't move, the fluid doesn't flow, the sludge builds up, and the cellular energy simply shuts down. It's a simple, mechanical, but absolutely profound equation for human longevity.
So will you let your cells suffocate? Or will you initiate the kinetic flush today? I really challenge you to completely rethink your daily habits. This isn't just another chore or some generic health recommendation. No, it is a literal mechanical life-saving mechanism for your cellular longevity. It's the trigger that clears the waste and finally lets your mitochondria breathe. So think about that invisible sludge the next time you've been sitting still for a little too long, and remember the incredible power of the kinetic flush. Keep learning, keep moving, and harness that cellular energy.